this way. All right, good morning. Welcome students, welcome parents, and welcome teachers. We are so excited for this time together. Does anyone have an idea why we're here? We're here to talk about Peter Pan. We're here to talk about... Yeah, that's right. Fantastic. We're so excited to talk a little bit about middle school today. And it's about 3 months from now, you're going to be finishing 5th grade, right, and then walking all the way across kind of the water feature to the middle school. So we're so excited about that. So whether you've been here, this is your first year at ASD in 5th grade, or can you raise your hand if you've been here since K1? Whoa, that is amazing. Thank you, hands down. We still have a lot of wonderful things to do. We're going to celebrate you towards the end of June. We're going to celebrate your success and your transition to middle school. But first, today begins our transition process. We have a couple of visitors that I'm going to ask you to welcome in a second. It's Mr. Corey Willie, who's the Associate Principal of the middle school, and Mr. Mike McMillan, the Principal. And they will introduce you to the team and a few things about middle school. Sounds good? Can we give them a round of applause?
Thank you, Mr. Che. Welcome, parents. Good morning. Like Mr. Che said, my name is Mr. Mike McMillan. I go by Mr. Mike, and I'm going to come down here too because I think being high up on this stage is I get a little too high. I'd rather see your face. Parents, you good seeing me down here? Excellent. Good morning, everybody. So I'm Mr. Mike. I'm the middle school principal, and welcome to our assembly for grade 5 to grade 6 transition. This is a really important and exciting time, probably one of the bigger transitions you're going to do in your life, moving from an elementary school where you pretty much have one teacher who knows you very well, to a middle school system where you have many teachers and you have a little bit more freedom in your life to move around and be where you're supposed to be. But what does Spider-Man say about responsibility?
With great power comes great responsibility.
You got it. So there's power, and then there's responsibility. And we're going to talk about that today. So here's what we're going to talk about today. Okay, here's our plan. We kind of have 2 main parts. Okay? The first part is to talk to you about middle school and the program and what it looks like. Because there's lots of parts to it. Right? There's the schedule and where do you go and what time do you go and how do you know where you're supposed to be. And there's the classes. What classes do I take? How do I know what classes? How many choices do I have? Which ones do I have to take? Which one do I get choice to take? So part of our presentation today is going to talk all about the program. Okay? The second part is going to talk about how do you do those choices? How do you fill out the sheets? How do you choose your courses for next year for grade 6 so that we have it and it goes into our system and when you show up on day 1 you have a schedule. Okay? So 2 things. The program and then how you're going to pick all your courses. Sound good? Alright, here we go. First thing is I'm going to introduce to you some of the people who are going to be important in your lives next year. So let's have a look at this team. So first of all, there's me. Okay, Mr. Mike. I come from Canada. This is my first year at ASD. My first year as a middle school principal here. And I'm having a great time. Okay, and I look forward to welcoming you to the middle school next year. I have 2 children in the school as well. One's in grade 8, and she's making the transition from grade 8 to grade 9, which is another big transition. And then I have another one in grade 11 who's going to grade 12 next year, and going to make another transition too, right? Leaving from grade 12 to go to college or university. So that's me. Then we have Mr. Willie. Here's Mr. Willie. He's our associate principal.
Hi everyone, this is my 6th year at ASD, and it's actually sadly my last. That's why you can see Mr. Butler is coming, Mrs. Butler is coming in next year. Apologies for the typo. And you'll get to hear from her in a moment as well. But I love middle school, and we've done a lot of work to make sure that the middle school program is developmentally appropriate. That means age appropriate for you, and fun, and that you grow a lot. And I'm someone who loves middle school, and throughout my career I've worked with middle school students, and I just think it's magic thinking about the way you guys are right now. And then our grade 8s are actually going to meet with high school counselors in a few hours at the end of the day. And there's just like this magic transformation that happens where you just become human beings, adult human beings. You're already human beings, but you figure out who you are in the middle school years, and it's just beautiful. We just had a bunch of kids going all over the world for Week Without Walls, and we were so proud of the way that they represented the school. And I don't think that can happen without a supportive community. One thing that middle school and grade 5 have in common is that we have like the best teachers ever. So you're gonna really love your teachers in grade 6, and they're almost as good as your grade 5 teachers. So really looking forward to hearing about your progress next year and helping you with the transition in my last few months here. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out if you see me around campus.
Great, thank you, Mr. Willey. Round of applause for Mr. Willey. So before we move to Miss Butler, I'll own the typo on there, apologies for the typo. I wanted to introduce to you Miss Vicky and Miss Sanal. Both of them are not in here because they are so important in running the middle school. Okay, so Miss Vicky and Miss Sanal sit in the middle school office and they run really the whole show, right? So if you need some help, the middle school office is always a great place for help. You come in and Miss Vicky and Miss Sanal are in the middle school office. And then I'd like to introduce you to Miss Butler, Miss Susan, she's going to go by. And she's in Sao Paulo, Brazil right now. And she actually sent through for us a video so that she can introduce herself to you. Here's Miss Susan. And we tested this before, and it worked.
Meeting with my family from Sao Paulo, Brazil to Dubai. I will be joining your community as middle school associate principal. As I said, I'll be coming with my family, which consists of my husband, Dave Butler, who will be teaching in the middle school, my son, Elliot Butler, who will be entering grade 9 in high school, and our dog, Rain, who I guess will just kind of be hanging out at home doing what dogs do. Transitions and new beginnings are really, really exciting, and I understand and appreciate that I will be beginning something new along with all of you, as you'll be transitioning from lower school or the elementary school into middle school. I find transitions and new beginnings are best when they're met with the willingness to be a risk taker, when they're met with kindness, compassion, and also a willingness to collaborate and work with others. I feel really strongly about getting to know the members of our community, and so I'm going to give you a little bit of information about me, but you're not going to know all the information until you meet me when I arrive in August. I'm going to tell you 2 truths and a lie about myself, and your job is going to be to figure out which one of these things is the lie. So, 2 truths and a lie. I am vegetarian. I love to do trail runs and races in the mountains, and I have an unrealistic fear of snakes. I'm super excited to join your community, to get to know you, and to support you through your new beginning as you enter the middle school.
All right, thanks, Miss Susan. What do you think? You know what the lie is already? Keep it in your mind. You will have every opportunity to speak with Miss Susan. Put her hands down now. Put her hands down. Grade 5. We'll hold it for August. Make a mental note. Maybe make a real note. Okay? When you meet her in August, that'll be one of the things that you're able to ask right away if you got it right. Okay, moving on with our introductions. Very important person who's going to be leading the second half of our assembly today, and that's Miss Courtney Beck. She's the head of our counseling department, and she is going to come and talk to you a little bit about who the counseling team is in the middle school. Miss Beck.
Good morning. Hi. Are we awake? Do we need to let some wiggles out? Are we okay? We're good. Okay. Well, as Mr. Mike said, I am Miss Beck. I will be the grade 6 counselor next year, and what's something special about my position is I get to follow you to grade 7 and grade 8. So I get the chance to really get to know you, and I love that part of the process and being able to get to know you all a little bit better. This is my 9th year at ASD, my 6th year at middle school, but I've been here for 9 years. I am here with my husband, who is a high school counselor, and I am here with my daughter, Addison. She is in K2, so she's a little mini Falcon. And then my son, who's 2 1/2, and he will be a Falcon soon enough. In the counseling office, I'm joined by 2 other counselors, Mrs. Silva and Ms. Knox. Mrs. Silva is the grade 7 counselor, so she'll follow her students up to grade 8, and Ms. Knox is the grade 8 counselor. And then we are joined also by by our lovely administrative assistant, Miss Bina. Miss Bina is the smiling face that you will see when you come into the counseling office. She helps support the office with pretty much everything. She answers lots of questions. She knows about the course registration process. And what I love about Miss Bina is that she really gets to know you as the students. So when you come into the counseling office, even though I will be your counselor, there are other individuals who are there to support you in your years in middle school.
Great, thanks, Ms. Beck. And then we're really lucky in middle school because we have a bunch of structures, a lot of people who are positioned to help you and support you in the transition and all the way through the grade 6, grade 7, and grade 8 program. One of the great structures we have is grade level teams. Okay, and so we have a team leader. So there's one teacher who's put in charge of the grade 6 team. That teacher is Ms. Dee Norman. Let's give her a round of applause. And Ms. Norman's going to talk to you a little bit about just the overall approach to grade 6 and what it means to be a grade 6 student at ASD. Ms. Norman.
Hi everyone, how are you today? We've established you're awake a little, right? Yeah? So, my name is Ms. Norman and I am a drama teacher. I am the team lead, I'm the Week Without Walls coordinator, and I will also be the middle school musical director. So you might see me in any one of many capacities, but one of my favorite parts is that I am a 6th grade teacher, and I love getting to know you guys, and I love being part of the 6th grade team. This is my 7th year at ASD, and I am here with me. That's it. It's just me. Because I have all of you, and so I don't need anybody else at home. So some things I want to talk to you about are 2 big parts of our middle school 6th grade program. The first one is our advisory program. So you have now a homeroom teacher, right? You have your teacher and you're with them most of the day when you don't go to Arabic and PE and art and the library, and you will have a teacher that is your advisor. So you'll see them Monday through Thursday in the mornings, and you'll see them in the afternoons, 2 days a week. And so during that time, we use that to check in with each other, to get organized, to make sure we know what day of the week it is, so we know what classes we're going to. And then the afternoon times, we have a bigger chunk of time where we talk about some social emotional things. So we talk about what our emotions are doing and what they tell us about things that are going on in our community or with us personally. We talk about bullying, we talk about friendship making and relationships. And so all of these are things that you deal with in your everyday life. And we're just trying to help put some context to it so that you can understand why you feel the way you are or why you're going through the things that you're going through. And so it's a great experience, and we have, each month we send an email to your parents, letting them know what we're going to be talking about so that you can have some conversations at home about the same topics that we're discussing. And it's a great program, and it's a great way to get to know your small group of 10 or 11 or 12 people in your advisory. And then in addition to that, to start our year off, because this is, as they've mentioned, a huge transition, right? You're going to go from having one classroom that you're based in to having a bunch of classes. You're going to have 8 teachers plus your advisor next year, which is crazy. It's so fun. It's so many people. You get to have lots of different people in your classes. And so with that, at the beginning of the school year, I believe it's August 25th, we will have an open doors day. And we highly, highly, highly recommend that everybody attend that open doors day. It is your chance to meet your advisor. It's your chance to meet the other people in your advisory. And we go over the schedule and we make sure you understand what all your classes are, because our schedule is really funny looking. And so it's a little scary, but we talk about it. We talk about how to use our lockers. How many of you are excited for having a locker? Yeah, that hand raising will go down really quickly once you have one. Because then you're going to be like, why? Why do I have to use my locker? And you're going to be so excited to have it. Then we're also going to talk about, let's see, what else do we talk about? We talk about our schedule, we talk about our lockers, we go on a tour so we can see where your classrooms are, so that on the first day you know where you're going. Because that's the serious part. How many of you are, that's your biggest fear? It's like, I don't know where the heck I'm going. Yeah, look around, look at all the other people that are also afraid of the same thing. And the best part is you have each other to support you. So we are here to support you, your 7th grade and 8th grade classmates will also be there to support you, because you'll be there to support each other. And then of course we have Leap Without Walls, which we just came back from Greece, was amazing. How many of you are excited for Greece? Alright, so we'll start talking about Greece at some point, so we're really excited for you guys to come and be part of all of this. We'll have a meet and greet later on in the year in May where you're going to get to meet some of the teachers and potentially some of the students, and that is still being worked on, but we have a lot coming up for you guys to help you feel comfortable making that transition. And I look forward to being here with you. So thank you guys so much.
Thank you, Ms. Norman. There, is that on? Perfect, all right. That's all the introductions. Whew, lots of people, isn't there? Can you name them all? No. You can? Good. Wow, that's impressive. What a talented bunch we have. So, we're going to move on. And we're going to talk a little bit about what should we expect. I'm going to get into, really, I thought about this. How do I explain the whole middle school program to a group of grade 5s and how to make sense? And so what I came up with was actually going through a day. What does a day look like? Because in every day, you touch all of the parts of the program. And it's the easiest way because it's the part that you are going to experience most. But before we do that, I want to talk about what actually makes our school all the same. Okay, no matter what division you are in, no matter what teacher you have, our mission and our core values is what makes us ASB. So this is something that's very much the same. Okay, no matter what grade you're in at this school, the teachers, the principals, the counselors, the office administrators, our parents, and you are expected always to follow our mission, to challenge and inspire each student to achieve their dreams and become a passionate learner, prepared to adapt and contribute in a rapidly changing world. That's what binds us across this whole school, no matter what grade you're in. And the core values that you see there, compassion, integrity, respect, excellence, and responsibility. No matter what grade you're in, we expect the same thing. We say we value those things. We try to act in ways and have others act in ways that represent those core values. The other thing that binds us is the student profile, okay? We try to nurture in every one of our students all of these attributes. 3 that I think are really important when we start talking about this transition from grade 5 to 6. Number 1, empathy, okay? Being able to be kind and compassionate to yourself first. You have to have empathy for yourself first to know that this is going to be a time that's going to be really fun, and then there are going to be times where you're not so sure. And so be kind to yourself. Be easy on yourself. Be there for your friends. Okay? There's going to be lots of new relationships, and it's important to have empathy for everybody. It's very important that you're going to be self-aware, and you're going to be learning to be self-directed. And sometimes those strategies will help you, will teach you about checking Power School, so that you don't feel confused about where you're going to be. And you're very self-aware. Oh, today's a day 2. I know what classes I have on day 2 because I checked Power School. Okay, so being self-aware of what you need. And the third one that I think is very important for us to focus on is the idea of resilience. It's having some courage to try some new things and being persistent even if things don't go as expected the first time. Okay, having some resilience. So those things I think are important, and those things bind us across our school. But now I want to get into actually what does the day look like. Okay? What time do you have to come to school in middle school? Does anyone know? 8:30. Is it earlier than elementary? Is it the same? 8:30. 8:30? So, arrive at school between 7:45 and 8:10 a.m. Okay? But at 8:10 a.m., there's a little bit of a bell that signals you need to start moving. Okay? You need to start moving. But you can be in some places from those times. Here are the places that you can be. You don't have to go right to your classroom. Okay? You can come onto campus and you can be in the library, the Falcon's Nest. The Falcon's Nest. There we go. The Falcon's Nest. The flexible spaces, which are in some of our hallways. Okay? You can make your way to your advisory classroom. Okay, once your teacher's in your advisory classroom, then you can enter there. So that's that beginning of school time. You can go to a few different places. You have some agency to make a choice. Where do you need to go? What do you need to do? By 8:20, you need to be in your advisory room. Okay, and this is like your homeroom, and it's only a 10-minute at the beginning of every day. And this happens on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. It doesn't happen on Friday because we have a shortened schedule on Friday. So we don't do homeroom on Fridays, you go right to your first class. But let's not worry about that now. For the most part, you go to advisory every morning. Okay, you have 10 minutes, that teacher checks in with you, how you doing today? Remember it's day 2, remember we have this going on, remember there was an email about that. It's a little check-in to sort of get you sorted for the day. Okay, 10 minutes with your advisor. Then, there's a nice picture of some of our advisors, okay? And they are certainly some of the most important trusted adults that you develop a relationship in the school with. Okay, someone who you can go to and really ask those questions that you need answers to. So at 8:30, you're released from advisory, and you have 5 minutes now to get from where your advisory class was to where your first block was. Okay, lots of time on this campus. In 5 minutes to walk anywhere you need to be. And then you have block 1. This looks different every day, except there's a really good pattern to it. But we're not going to get into those details right now either. We'll figure out the schedule later. You have block 1. In block 1, here are the classes that you will be taking. Okay, the left side are the classes everybody's going to take. There are core classes. You'll all take English language arts, you'll all take math, you'll all take science, you'll all take social studies. On the right side, you have some choice. You will all take physical education. Then you'll have a choice in music, and I know Mr. Stewart and Ms. Hall have talked to you about that already. You will go through the Explorer wheel at different times. Okay, so you all won't be in dance at the same time. Everybody will be in dance at a different time with smaller groups, but you will take all 4 of dance, design, visual arts, and drama. And you will all have a language. Okay? We'll get into more detailed questions later, but that's basically what your subjects are going to look like. Okay, we'll take questions a little later, okay? That's what block 1 looks like. When block 1 is done, you have 10 minutes to get from where you need to be to the next place you need to be. So this is a good time to drop by your locker, you can change your books, maybe you have to get your PE stuff because you're on your PE. You can grab what you need, say hello to your friends, have a sip of water, boom, wait, you go to your next class. Okay? Then you get into block 2, that's our timing, till 11:05, and at 11:05 is lunch and recess. Everyone is expected to go and eat first. We know lots of people want to get outside and play. This recess is still very important in the middle school. Okay, we believe deeply in it, but you need to go eat. You go and eat, and then around 11:20, you can leave the cafeteria, and you can go to a whole bunch of places. Again, to self-select. What do I want to do today? Do I want to go play some football on the pitch? You can do that. Do I want to go play in the field house with my friends, some basketball, some volleyball, maybe some badminton rackets? The teachers are there, and you can kind of play as you wish, obviously within the expectations of what we expect in the gymnasium, in the field house. Okay? And that lasts till 11:50, at which time there's a warning bell to tell you, get moving, because you've got 5 minutes to get to, what do you think's next? Block 3. There you go, 11:55 to 1:05, you go to block 3. You have another passing time for 10 minutes. Go to your locker, get your stuff, and the day, is it over with block 4? 2:25. What are we going to do from 2:25 till 3:20, at the end of the day? Yeah, it's our advisory block, but we also refer to it sometimes as our flex block. And this is a really cool part of our day. Okay, one of the best things I think we have in our middle school program, a really well-defined advisory program and some flexible learning time. Mr. Willie's going to come and talk to you about the 4 main components that make up our advisory flex time.
Thank you. Sorry if I feel distracted. I had the weirdest dream last night. I was swimming in an ocean of orange soda. Yeah, but then I woke up and I realized it was all just a fantasy. Don't worry, I'll leave all my puns with Miss Butler when she comes. Yeah. So the flex block is the time of the day, at the end of the day, and throughout our day, one thing that's really important to us, yes, the academic subjects are really important. We'll have 8 classes. you'll move through them, and hopefully through those you're discovering your passions and your interests, but we also build in intentionally opportunities like the morning advisory and like FlexBlock to build community, to help you uncover other passions you maybe didn't know about, or fortify ones that you already know about. And so this is a really age-appropriate and developmentally intentional part of our day. Every Monday afternoon, most Mondays, depending on, sometimes we make slight changes to this, but you'll get 45 minutes with that small group that Ms. Norman talked about, that 10 to 12 students and one teacher who serves as your teacher advocate. And we have a program, and I'll explain in a moment, that we go through, and we have some research-based resources, but really you're figuring out who am I, how do I develop healthy relationships, how do I deal with the stresses that I'm encountering, how do I navigate my own problems. One thing that's different about middle school than elementary school and just childhood in general is you're learning how to navigate some of your own challenges instead of relying on parents or teachers to solve them for you. And I know you're working on that already in grade 5 and throughout elementary school, but it's really important in middle school. And it's not independence. It's not like we're leaving you out and we're saying figure it out on your own. It's interdependence. And that's where that advisor comes in. You get to work with that person. And oftentimes, we survey students every year, who's your trusted adult in the school, and many times, not always, but many times it's that advisor who students feel like they can go to if they have a problem. But we do have circle discussions, we have games, and things that will build community, and also touch on some of those foundational skills that you need to navigate life in middle school, inside and outside of school. Now on Tuesdays and Thursdays in a normal week, we have what's called pursuits. So along with our Explorer's Wheel and your choices with language and music, we also give you choices throughout the year. We usually have 3 sessions of pursuits. And you'll get to choose from a whole host of options. We survey students often and figure out what they want, and then teachers take a look at that and they say, this is what I can offer. And they range from everything from yoga to guitar to mindfulness to wall climbing to kickball, but and sometimes they're also an opportunity to get a little academic support as well. And so that's another opportunity for you to explore new things, and generally you'll get about 6 of those different pursuits throughout the year. So on a Tuesday, you might have mindfulness, and then on a Thursday, you might have 3-on-3 basketball. So whatever you're interested in, you opt into that. And so that's a really fun part of our program. And then every Wednesday, we have, and other times that we kind of sprinkle throughout this school year when it's needed, we have access. And access is a little bit like a study hall in the sense that you'll go to your advisory, but you can also choose to meet with teachers. And Mr. Mike has mentioned the word agency throughout our time today, and that means that you have control over a lot of things in the middle school schedule. So access is one of those things. So let's say I'm struggling with my French assignments, I can set up an access time, and we'll teach you how to make an appointment during access, and you'll go out and you get support from that teacher. So on a given day, I know from my advisory, about half of them will be meeting with teachers that they need support with, and other will just be getting started on some homework or tasks that they need to do for class quietly in advisory. So it's a really nice time, nice space for you to get some work done during the day, and some academic support. And then throughout the year, we also put during this time assemblies, house competitions. You'll find out your house this summer. We'll send you out your house. It's all the same by advisory. We actually have our ultimate house competition this Thursday, which is a little bit like sports day for you guys. But we, throughout all of our assemblies, you rack up points throughout the year, and then we have a plaque in the middle school office with the annual champion. So we have 4 houses. They're all species of falcons: Merlin, Peregrine, Kestrel, and Barbary. Thank you. It's another way that we add a little fun to middle school. We also have house rallies 3 times a year. I think this group will really like that part of our day. So, as a way to break up, you guys have been great listeners, and you in the back as well have been great listeners, but I wanted to take an opportunity to do an advisory-like activity just to kind of get you guys to get a little movement break. So, this is a game called Just Like Me, and you might do this at the beginning of the year, or we can even do this at an assembly, but basically you're going to see several characteristics. If you agree with that characteristic, if that describes you, please stand, take a look around, and see who else shares that common interest. So, everybody get it? So stand up if this attribute and parents would love for you to play too. If you love the beach, please stand. There you go. Take a seat, take a seat. a little last night. Take a seat. You take a look back, your parents are back there and see what they said as well. I've lived in Dubai for 5 or more years. All right, have a seat. I've lived in Europe. All right, I enjoy making art, music, and/or poetry. Hey, you guys are gonna love our arts program. Sure, you better stand up. I'm gonna tell your mom. Take a seat. I love sports. All right, have a seat. I have siblings. Yeah. Have a seat. I read for pleasure almost every day. Miss Davis, get my name. All right, have a seat. I would eat pizza for every meal. All right, have a seat, Now, a lot of this might just seem fun to you, but there is actually a lot of research behind this, and we use a couple of resources through our advisory program. Thank you for doing this. Second step is a program that it's a program where we use it more as a resource, and that is part of what we do during advisory. And then we also, teachers and parents might know about CASEL, which is an international organization based in the US that looks at what students need at this particular age in terms of social emotional development, and we program our advisory for that. And one thing they need a lot of is fun, so that's why we have a lot of fun in our advisory program as well. Okay. Another thing that's a lot of fun is Speak Without Walls, and you guys will get a lot of opportunity to learn about this as the year goes on, but we're really hyped on this topic because we just came back from Week Without Walls, and we got rave reviews from our 6th grade chaperones about how grade 6 represented our school in Greece. We also, in grade 7 and 8, have multiple opportunities. Some stay more locally, some go abroad, and it's all about giving back. Okay, so Greece is a little bit more based on the curriculum that you learn in grade 6, and there's a really component that deals with ancient civilizations and social studies in particular, but also deforestation, and so they plant trees in Greece when they go and contribute to a reforestation project. So all of them have elements of service learning. I mentioned that because one other change that comes from elementary school, and I know that a lot of you are involved in service activities, but we do expect you to figure out some way to get back to our community. And Week Without Walls is one opportunity for that, but also there's, of course, the school day doesn't end after the flex block. We actually have lots of opportunities, as you know, through Campus Rec, and also through athletics and the arts, and you can continue to explore your passions throughout the day. So think about that, and think about what you have also, not only what middle school can do for you, but what you can contribute to our community as you move from elementary into middle school. So that's my challenge to you, and then I'll turn it over to Mr. Mike.
Great, thanks, Mr. Willie.
I have some more plans for you.
He is a master of puns. I'll have to pick that up. So, technology. I just want to give a very brief, and I don't want to get into too many details, but we do have one of our tech coaches here, integrators here, Ms. Heather Roy, who's here, and if we had more serious questions, we could field those. Just a very brief overview, though, of the systems that we do use. And students, you're going to need to know those, and parents, you're going to need to know them as well. You may be familiar already with some of these. Number one is Power School. Okay, and Power School is really our school information system. It's a school management system. For students and for parents, you're really interfaced with it because that's where we keep our attendance. Okay, so you can mark attendance in there yourself if you know your child's going to be away. It's also the place where we give back grades. Okay, so a grade book is in there, so that's where you see what your grade on a certain assignment was, and that is also where your report cards are housed. You get them in an email, but you're also able to access them through Power School. So it's really our official reporting place, our school information system. In the classroom, you'll use Schoology more frequently. I think in elementary school, what do you use? The Google Classroom? Do you have? Okay, Google Classroom. And Seesaw, that's what I was looking for, Seesaw. So Schoology, everyone, is really the place where your teacher is able to hand things out to you and you interact with your teacher. So if I'm teaching you and I say, today we're going to do this activity, I posted a handout on Schoology. There's a slide deck we can look at. There's a video there, and you're going to make your copies. You're going to actually do your schoolwork in Schoology or download and use it in Google Docs, and then you're going to be able to hand it in on Schoology. So it's really our classroom management system, okay, and it's where you're going to be able to hand in some of your assignments as well. There's also parents, you're able to get a daily or a weekly or no notification. You have 3 options there. You can get a daily notification, a weekly notification, or you can turn notifications off, and you can get a sense of what's happening in each classroom on every day if you choose. Okay, and the last thing on this screen is a big change in the middle school from elementary school. It is a requirement that every middle school student has a MacBook. Okay, so parents, that's important that you're aware of that. It's a 13-inch MacBook Pro or Air. There are some differences depending on courses that you might want to take. Again, Ms. Roy is available if you want to have those more in-depth conversations, but typically speaking, it's a MacBook Air or Pro that's no older than 4 years, and your Apple ID becomes through our family, the family sharing, the ASD email. Is that correct? Is that what you mean on there? No? Maybe you need to speak to that, because I don't know what that means. Ms. Roy is going to speak to that. She updated the slide, and I don't understand that.
Just that everyone's going to need to have an Apple ID because that's how we add our programs to our Mac. But what I do recommend for families is that you create it through family sharing. And we're happy to share some information about how to set that up. And that way that just helps you, that you actually have still control over that Apple ID and can choose what programs are permitted. We want to make sure that you feel comfortable with that and feel that you still have an eye on their devices. So we know that's really important. And part of also what we do in grade 6 is that we help our students understand how to manage their devices and use them responsibly to help with learning. So that's one of our big goals for them as well. As we develop that responsibility and independence, we'll work on that as well. Do you want me to mention that?
Sure.
Also, we will provide training for your child in August. So in August, we'll meet again to do some training about how to set up the machines. And also, we'll be getting in touch with you for some things to do online before you come to school so that the computer's all ready to go to talk to ASD systems and can use our Wi-Fi and all those kinds of things. So stay tuned for some emails in August for some setup instructions.
Great, thanks, Ms. Roy. Thanks for taking that. Okay, and last one for me is going to be what other supports are in place for you as middle school students and parents that you know we have here to help support. Number one, the middle school office. And since I've come here, I've really tried to make clear that the middle school office is not a place where students, you have to think about it's a place I go if I get in trouble. That's not the type of middle school office we want to run. The middle school office is a place of support. Okay, we're here to support you. And there are many people here to support you along the way. And sometimes your advisor might try to support you. Sometimes your counselor might try to support you. Sometimes you might find you need some support from me or Mr. Willie or next year Miss Susan. And it is a place of support. Sometimes you might make choices that don't align with our values, that don't align with our student profile, and don't align maybe with our expectations that are in our handbook. And that means you need to have a conversation with me or with Miss Susan. Okay? And that conversation isn't always about getting in trouble. It's about recognizing, what did I do? Why did you do that? And is that how we want to act in this school? And hopefully, that conversation helps redirect you. So I really want to make sure that the middle school office is a place of support and not a place that anybody needs to ever be scared of coming. Another great support we have in our school is learning support. Okay? We know that everyone learns differently, and we're fortunate in our school to have one dedicated learning support teacher for every grade level. So grade 6, grade 7, and grade 8. Ms. Summer Gallagher is going to be the learning support teacher for grade 6 next year. Those teachers work with our students and teachers and families in support of learning. If a student does have a SAP, a student action plan, they are eligible for the co-taught math class and eligible also for the co-taught English language arts class. That means that there are 2 teachers in that class actually. There's the classroom teacher and the learning support teacher in that class. Okay, and that we also, some students are eligible for a guided study. That class acts as an elective, and we're fairly we help build the schedule for every student individually for what class they don't have in place of guided study. Sometimes that's language, sometimes it might be somewhere else. But if a student qualifies for guided study, that's a class they would have with Ms. Gallagher and some extra time to take care of the skills that we're working on. Also, the learning support teachers open their room every day, and we call it the Learning Center. So another place you can go and get work done, another place you can get some help. At lunchtime, you can head up to the Learning Center, and there's someone there to help you. And finally, we talked about our counselors already. You were introduced to Ms. Beck. There's one per, Ms. Beck will be yours, and students can always drop in or make an appointment to see their counselor. That was a lot of stuff, wasn't it? Yeah. See how middle school is a big place, and there's lots going on? But I hope that you get the sense that it's a place of support, and it's a place you don't have to be scared about coming, because there are a lot of people here who are ready to help. And the good news is, we've done this before. You're not the first grade 5s to come to grade 6. So we know what we're doing, okay? So trust us. Ms. Beck is now going to walk you through the process, parents and students, and what you need to do to get your course selections in, and that's happening very soon. Here you go, Ms. Beck.
Okay, you all have been such a fabulous audience. Are you still with me? Yes. Okay, good. Because this is such an important piece of your transition. It's such an important start of the process. And I get really excited about it because it's the first opportunity for you to really speak up and have that agency that Mr. Mike and Mr. Willie were talking about and advocate for yourself and think about decision making. So when I talk about the course registration process, what am I talking about? Who knows? What do I mean?
Maybe like some classes that you want to take.
Some classes you want to take, that's right. So, you all have the opportunity to choose a few classes. And this is such an important part of the process because the start of this process will help us start to figure out your schedule. So once you turn in the form that we'll talk about in just a minute, we do a lot of work from March until through August to work on these schedules to make sure that you're in the right place. So I'll be talking to you about the course registration process and timeline. And a really good place to start is with the middle school course catalog. The course catalog gives you all the information about the grade 6 classes you're going to be taking, and it also gives you information about the grade 7 and grade 8 classes if you wanted to take a look at those. So this is a really important piece of the course registration process because it's good for you to be informed. Because when you are informed, you're better able to make decisions on the classes that you want to take. So just a few things to remember about the course registration process. It's important that you review the courses with your parents. So it shouldn't be your parents alone reading about the courses. You want to know about your learning, about what you're going to be taking. So it's really, really important that you review it with your parents. Make your choices according to your interests. Sometimes in decision making, when we're talking to other people about what they're taking, sometimes we can be swayed to take what our friends are taking, for example. But this is a process about you, okay? And so it's really important for you to consider your interests and your passions. Because if you're stuck in a class that a friend's taking but you're not very passionate about it, that's going to be a long semester or a long year. So really think about your interests and your passions. And remember, it is a supportive process. There is no pressure. And I am here to talk to you and to guide you. The middle school faculty is here to talk to you, to guide you through the process, okay? So, today, this is the form that will be going home with you via backpack mail and via email. And this is the form that you will complete and hand back into your homeroom teacher by Friday. By Friday, March 17th, you'll hand this back in. We're going to go through it a little bit more in depth. So, as Mr. Mike had mentioned, the courses you see here are courses that are taken by all grade 6 students. All grade 6 students are taking these courses. So you have your English, Math, Science, Social Studies, PE, and then our Explorer Wheel I think is really awesome. They're semester-long classes, they're quarter-long classes, and it gives you, there we go. It gives you the opportunity to kind of try out the different elective classes that we have. And what loved about this is that some people who've gone into, let's say, dance or design and innovation, they might have gone into like, ugh, I really don't want to take this class. But they've come out of it with a passion and with a great interest in it. And then they're able to, in grade 7 and 8, explore those options a little bit more. So these are the classes that everybody will take. You'll see this on the left side of the form, and there's no action needed for you on that side. Where there will be required some action is with world language and the music choices. In middle school, we have 3 languages that you can choose from. There's Spanish, French, and Arabic. If you're an Arabic passport holder, you will be required to take Arabic language arts. And so that will kind of be put in for you. You'll still just choose Arabic, and we'll figure out where to place you if need be. If you are choosing Spanish or French, there's another part that we'll talk about later on in the request form, where we'll need a little bit more information from you. And then there's the 6th grade music choices. There's choir, there's band, beginning orchestra, and middle school orchestra. And so you'll see there's a P there. Who has an idea what the P might mean?
I think the P might mean like if you've had experience before because it says that.
Oh, you noticed. Thank you very much. Yes. What the P actually stands for is prerequisite. So prerequisite is, speaking to that very good, is that previous experience. So you'll need to have previous experience in violin or cello, and a few other instruments if you're going to be able to take middle school orchestra. I know that the band and orchestra and choir teachers have done an excellent job of talking to you all regarding their classes, and I think some forms have gone out for you all as well, where you're going to start to make those choices for your music choice. So if you do not have experience with violin and cello, then you would be choosing beginning orchestra. So that's the only class in grade 6 that has the prerequisite requirement. So as I mentioned, if you are choosing French or Spanish, and you have previous experience, or if you don't, you just need to tell us what that is. And so if you do have previous experience, or you want to tell us about your experience, you need to fill out this portion of the course registration form. And then if you do have experience in either French or Spanish, you are required to take an online world language assessment. And that will help us ensure that we get you into the right class. Because you don't want to be in a class where you already know all of the stuff, right? You want to be in a class where you're going to be able to learn more and engage more. Okay, so this is a really important piece. The World Language Assessment link will be sent to you via email with all of this other information as well. Okay? And then lastly, you'll just need to print your last name, your first name, your homeroom teacher, as well as a parent signature and date. And so this entire form will be given into your homeroom teacher by, what's the date? Friday, March 17th. Awesome. So as I said, today is a presentation for you all. And it is when the form is sent home via backpack and email. Okay? By Friday, March 17th, forms are due to your homeroom teacher. Please, please, please remember to include your name, your parent signature, as well as your music and language courses. Because without that information, we won't be able to enter the information into PowerSchool. And please let us know about your experience with the world language, okay? And that world language assessment is super important because we won't be able to move forward with your scheduling until we have that information about your experience with the world language. So if you still have questions about the course registration process, we will be sending you a detailed screencast about how to fill out the form and about the information that you need. There is the course catalog, and also there's middle school faculty. If you have questions about a specific middle school course, our faculty is amazing, and they will answer your questions if you want to get to know a little bit more about the courses. And then, as Ms. Norman mentioned, there is more information to come. The meet and greet and the Q&A session is for students, and that's your chance to ask some questions about middle school. I will be visiting homeroom classes in May or June to talk to you a little bit more, to hear about your hopes, your dreams, your wishes, your fears about coming into middle school. And then there's also the open doors in August. So there's lots there that's there to support you in your transition to middle school. And I think now we have some time for questions.
And before we get to the student questions, which are very important, we're going to see if any parents have any questions, because I know there's going to be a lot of grade 5 questions. Parents, Mr. Willie's up there with the microphone. Are there any questions or things that you need clarified before we dig into the grade 5 questions?
All right, so we have one over here. Thank you.
Just a quick question. So it's 25th of August, the first date when something happens at school where we need to be present.
Correct. 25th of August, it's a Friday. It's going to be in the morning. It's the grade 6 event. There'll be a new family and new student event in the early part of the morning. The second half of the morning, somewhere imagine around 10, there's going to be the grade 6 open doors. And that will be, we want everyone here for that. So August 25th, Friday. Hopefully you book your flights after you just got that information.
Hi, so for the choir and the language selections, that's for the semester or is that for the whole year?
Great question. World language and your music choices are for the entire year. The only quarter-long classes are the explorable classes. The design and innovation, drama, dance, and art. The students do not make any action on the Explorer Build, just the world language and the music choice. Yeah.
Yeah, a question.
If they choose Spanish in grade 6, can they switch to French if they don't like Spanish in grade 7?
That's a great question. Mr. Mike, would you like to take that?
Yeah, so typically the easy answer is no. Okay? The more complicated answer is we would need to really have a good discussion about that, because we really do believe that moving language to language, it really impacts proficiency. And we are a proficiency-based school, and we do want to think about pathways, and one of those pathways getting to the higher levels, even in AP language class, and in order to do that, you need to move through all of our proficiency levels. And so switching back and forth, it's not something that we do very often. And so the easy answer is no. You should pick a language that you want to develop and acquire, and you're going to do that all the way through in order to be at that end point of high school where you can say you have a proficiency in right, as you're bilingual or trilingual or whatever. Okay?
Yes.
I have one, Mr. Willie.
Can you explain a little bit more about the levels for Arabic and how kids are assessed and put into those levels for non-native?
So the levels for Arabic, those are assessed currently, based on their current level in grade 5. There's a lot of work done with the teachers where they assess the level and they'll be placed in a specific level. I'm not sure if they communicate those levels, I would assume they do, but those levels that the teacher recommend from grade 5 will be put in for grade 6.
For music and band and orchestra, I heard, I'm not sure that's what I answer for. If they choose band or orchestra, they can change in grade 7 to choir. But if they choose in grade 6 choir, they go on, they cannot choose later band or orchestra. Is this correct?
They do have the opportunity to change in grade 7 and in grade 8. So they could choose band in grade 6, they could choose beginning orchestra in grade 7, they could choose choir in grade 8, if that was something that they chose.
That's that I know our music teachers always do say that it's easier to switch from band to choir from the other way, because they're really building the skills when they're learning an instrument. So if you're on the fence about whether you want to take band or choir, that might be something you can consider. But or orchestra, those any instrument, it's harder to just jump in and start.
Right.
Kids in that year.
But they're not locked into their music choice.
And just worth saying that music is only a requirement in grade 6. We have a very good number of students who continue. Those of you who have had students come through the middle school, some of them continue to do band all the way through high school. Some of them in grade 7 decide, you know what, design and innovation is my thing, or art is my thing, and it is a requirement in grade 6 because we want all students to have exposure to music, but we don't require it after grade 6, but many students opt in to continue their growth in those areas.
What I'd like to confirm is with the choices of maybe the orchestra is kind of easy because most likely the kids are using instruments at home. But for the band, do they have to get the instruments for that? And if a child is interested in band now, especially the boys are like, okay, I want to go through that fun one, and then they want to change before the year is over to, say, choir. Is it that possible? Because you can switch from an instrument to a non-instrument choice.
So the music choices are year-long. So they won't be able to switch during the year. They are locked in during that year, and that would be the same for grade 7 and for grade 8. That's where that decision-making, that student agency really comes into play, because it is something they'll be taking across the entire year. And then for the band, you're asking if they need previous experience with band? Right. Yeah, so they rent the instruments from middle school, but they don't need previous experience. The band teacher is awesome and works really, really hard with the students to help everybody kind of get onto the same level and on the same page with their learning of the instruments.
Because some of them think they like it, but they should actually be in a space where they see the older kids doing this thing to be able to say if they like it.
They did actually do that, yeah. They've done it for band, they've done it for orchestra, and for choir, yeah.
Hi, what are the average class sizes for the core classes? So how many students at a time will be in one language arts class or one science class? And then another question is, how are the students divided into these smaller advisory groups? Is it random? Are they pre-selected?
I'll take the first part of that question, and I haven't been part of the second part yet, from Ms. Beck, if you can take that one. We aim to get 22 students in a class. That ebbs and flows a little bit because there are some electives, so sometimes there's a pressure somewhere else, which makes one class maybe a little bit smaller, or there's not a pressure, and it makes that class a little bit bigger. So typically, 22 in the core classes, and we don't go above 24.
And for advisory, there's a lot of factors that go into advisory groups. One of them being the ratio, the boy-to-girl ratio. We get feedback from elementary teachers, we talk to teachers, we think about teacher personality and how that might work best with the students in that advisory. So there's not just one factor, there's many, many factors that go into the advisory process, yeah.
Thanks for those questions, parents. We have reached past 9:30. You're welcome to stay, but the grade 5s are due an encore at 9:45. So grade 5s, here's what we're going to do. You are going to, can I see your faces here, grade 5? Look in here. Yep, everybody. Turn it back around. Excellent. I want to thank you, grade 5. You were a fantastic audience today. I know that was a lot of talking and a lot of stuff going on, and I really appreciate you paying attention. I'm glad you were here with your parents, and I encourage you to speak about this at home. Okay, because sometimes you hear things and you think it's one way, and it's really good that your parents are here to help you understand exactly what middle school is all about. We're not going to have time for questions today, but you are able to ask questions to your teachers, okay, when you get back to class, and we are going to have many more opportunities to meet together where we're going to get this all figured out, okay? Again, thank you very much. Thanks to all your grade 5 teachers for having you over here today.